Dark Cloud. Written and adapted for audio by ButterflyCoffee. It was now September 1938. The morning dawned crisp as the sun began to dip behind the clouds. For some time, a sea of calm had blanketed Devon, and people had lived vicariously in markets, festivals, and seasonal celebrations. But now, this calm was beginning to dissipate. Ever since 1935, the British Prime Minister had been feverishly working to keep peace overseas, as the German Chancellor began taking the steps to strengthen his broken country. People were getting increasingly anxious at home. First, there was a new German army and the rearmament of the Rhineland, and now the Chancellor wanted a place called the Sudetenland. "At least, that's what I heard on the radio this morning," said the firelighter to the crews as they arrived at the sheds. "It's just mad. The PM doesn't have a backbone." "Never mind that. What if he does give the Chancellor the Sudetenland? What will we do then?" asked a driver. "But he can't," argued the firelighter. "It goes against the treaty, doesn't it? So they're giving the man a navy and letting him rearm the Rhineland thing and that stuff about Austria. But they've let him do all that," grouched a fireman. The men kept arguing as the engines began to come to. Lizzie scrunched up her face in a yawn and grumbled to the men to shut up so she could wake up in peace. "There may not be any peace if the ruddy Chancellor keeps going on like this. He's going to have everything, you watch." "What Chancellor? Who on earth are you talking about?" croaked Duchess sleepily. The men didn't answer and kept arguing amongst themselves until it was time to start work. The engines were on edge all morning. Their drivers were tense and rough with the controls. Whenever they spoke, it was either in hushed whispers or barked voices. Crews were asked several times what was wrong, and no engine could make sense of what was being said. Lizzie and Louise would frequently get into arguments with their crews and almost caused several minor accidents because neither locomotive, driver nor fireman was paying attention to what they were doing. Lizzie's crew even refused to speak to their engine after the fifth row, and some were worried. Duchess and Hercule tried insistently to get a coherent answer, but the crew wouldn't properly respond, instead hiding away in the cab and burying themselves in their work. 4760 shakily brought a train to platform 3. She was frightened by the crew's lack of communication and rowing. Lizzie could be heard from a mile away, and the Ginty herself had almost become a runaway when her crew forgot to set the brakes properly. 4760 was so confused. Why was everyone arguing and scared? Were they still upset over the argument this morning? They had to be, she supposed.
"Are you all right over there?"
A concerned passenger called out to 4760 and brought her focus back. He looked very worried as he gazed at the young engine.
"You poor thing. You seem in another world almost. Are you okay?"
I'm fine, thank you," 4760 mumbled.
Now, I know a lie when I see it."
The passenger glanced up at the station clock.
"Please, it's a good quarter of an hour before I catch my train. Why not tell me what's wrong?"
"I'm very sorry, sir, but I really can't be dawdling here. I have to get back to work." 4760 hurried away as soon as she was uncoupled. 15 minutes later, 4760 brought another train to the station. She slowed to a stop and saw the passenger from earlier stand up from a bench and fold his newspaper. The two caught each other's eye, and the passenger approached.
"I'm not surprised you ran off like that, young one,"
he said kindly.
"I would too, except I have a family to look after."
The man tapped his newspaper against his suitcase.
"All very bad stuff, this. I can only hope it doesn't escalate."
I'm sorry, sir. I'm just scared." The words felt clumsy in 4760's mouth. What's happening? Is the bad stuff in the newspaper the reason why my crew won't talk to me?
I suspect so,
The passenger replied. He went on to explain all about the Prime Minister's policy of appeasement. 4760 did her best to understand, but it was very easy to get lost in all the details, and the answers the kind passenger gave her didn't make her feel better at all. You said earlier, sir, that this, policy would escalate? What did you mean? What does that mean? The passenger looked very grumpy all of a sudden. The little Ginty immediately regretted asking that question and wished to Fowler she could take it back. But the man didn't sound cross when he finally answered. He sounded very sad.
It's a shame that it could happen again. If our Prime Minister doesn't stand up to that Chancellor, I think we could have another great war. And the good Lord above knows we don't need that. We're still suffering. Great Britannia simply cannot handle another war. She'll crumble.
And with those words, he boarded his train. 4760 watched the coaches pull away from her for a good while. What did that man mean by Great War? That didn't sound like a good thing at all. The tank engine wouldn't realise just how bad this word would be until much later. That night, the engines were trying to make sense of the day's ups and downs. The crews had still been quiet or uncooperative, and everyone was still trying to work out their feelings. If they want to be god-awful and rotten, then we may as well be god-awful and rotten back, growled Lizzie. All they have to do is say what they're worried about and we can all go on our way, but no, they have to be sleazebags about it. Ugh! Bruno, give me strength. Lizzie, you saw exactly where that got you today, so I really doubt that'd help. How Duchess had been able to keep her voice down was quite remarkable. Something is obviously very wrong and upsetting the crews quite badly, so we must be supportive, not aggressive or pugnacious.
Duchess, my dear, it really is quite hard to be upstanding about your behaviour when your crew is influenced by their behaviour to be so grossly incompetent, sniffed Louise. How I managed not to overrun platforms or crossings today is beyond reasoning.
Hercule wanted to butt in, but he saw 4760 sulking to herself, it seemed, to the left of the shed. He frowned and spoke to get her attention. Hey there, you want to let off some steam too? 4760 turned to look at him. She tried to laugh at his joke, but nothing came out, so she stared down at her buffers. Hercule immediately knew something was troubling her, and pestered the Ginty until she finally caved.
I was talking to someone on the platform today,
the Ginty said quietly.
He told me there was a man overseas who wanted bits of land to make his country stronger, because some kind of agreement had made it weak. But the passenger said he wasn't allowed to do that. I didn't understand a lot of it.
Go on, sweetheart, said Hercule gently. Tell us everything he told you. The other engines had stopped to listen, looking worriedly at the little engine. 4760 wasn't used to having attention on her. She looked away nervously before starting to speak.
The passenger told me that our Prime Minister, that he tried to stop the man overseas from taking land, but he couldn't. It had gotten worse. The man kept taking more land, and he still wants more land. The passenger said that if our Prime Minister doesn't do something, another great war will happen.
4760 felt the engine's staring become more intense all of a sudden. She looked back, and everyone's faces were indeed on her. Their faces were pale, and their eyes were wide. They all looked aghast. The shed was very quiet for what seemed like the longest time. The engines looked at each other, back and forth, then to the ground, then back to each other again. It felt like hours before anyone spoke. Did no one know what to say? Why was no one speaking? Why did they all look so scared?
You sure that's what the passenger said, Midlander? If you're lying...
Lizzie sounded very scary. Her eyes were wide, and she seemed to be staring at nothing. But her voice was very low and quiet, almost like she didn't want to hear herself speak. 4760 felt her boiler go cold.
I'm not lying, I promise. The passenger showed me in his newspaper. Slander! It's all slander!
Louise hissed. Everyone was quiet again. 4760 didn't think she'd known the engines to be so quiet. The Duchess wasn't telling Lizzie off for her threat, and Hercule didn't say anything to Louise like he usually did. What was going on?
Who's gonna tell her then?
Hercule spoke at last. No one replied. The 4200 heaved a big sigh.
Guess it's me then.
4760 hadn't heard Hercule stutter at all before now. She was very scared.
See, 4760.
Hercule struggled for the words.
Just before I was built, there was a huge fight between us, Great Britain, and another place, Germany. It lasted a long time, and a lot of people got hurt. A load more were killed. So many people were killed, and the fighting was so bad, people call it the Great War. That's what a war is. A huge fight between two places, two countries.
4760 was beyond words. That's not all. Duchess now spoke. People who fought for Great Britain were fathers, brothers, sons. Many good men died trying to save us from Germany. When the war was finally over, a treaty was made to ensure that Germany never attacked again. Land was taken from them and given to other countries. Their army was taken away. They were made weaker. For years it's worked, but now it seems they have a new man in charge who wants to undo what's been done. People here don't want another war. We have no men, no supplies, nothing. The brutality and toll of the Great War is still fresh. We can't win another war. 4760 felt as though the rails would collapse under her at any moment.
It wasn't just men. Animals and engines went too. And they didn't come back, did they?
Lizzie sounded like she couldn't speak more than a sentence at a time. Her voice was thick now.
Thousands of men, animals and engines went to fight, and only a few returned. You'd see an engine leave, and the next thing you know, they're dead in a ditch. You just see a horse get shot when they collapse. Men staggering home like ghosts. I can still hear them screaming.
You know that?
Lizzie glanced at Louise solemnly. 4760 hadn't ever seen her look so openly serious.
How else do you think I got this scar?
4760 didn't hear anything else. Her imagination began to wander again, more vividly than ever before. The Ginty found all this new information very difficult to process. War could get people killed, and
this man overseas, the Chancellor, wanted the land back that this treaty had taken from him. But that made him stronger than Great Britain was right now. Entire families had been torn apart to protect the country, and now all of it was being undone by a Prime Minister who had no backbone. It all sounded far too difficult and complicated. 4760 now felt hopelessly scared, more scared than when she'd met Lizzie for the first time. Everything was moving so fast she could barely keep up with it. It was like being coupled to the back of a fast express and being unable to stop. The little Ginty now had another, much darker view of the world, and she didn't know how to feel about it. Not 2 weeks later, more news came in the newspapers and on the radio. The German Chancellor had taken the Sudetenland for Germany.